What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we here came across a video. We got just a Brit abroad with 5 ways Sweden is different from Denmark. Of course, y'all know your boy. I've been Dara the Traveler. That don't even make sense. But your boy Dara the Traveler actually traveled outside of the country and made my way to Sweden and Denmark. Great time. I will forever talk about it, especially now doing reactions, because these are countries I done reactions over since I pretty much started this channel, and I actually got to visit. So now it make it that much more special when I do these reactions, because I actually got to visit there. But now Sweden different from Denmark. Gonna be interested to see what my guy says. Some differences are, I know my differences, I could have some differences and some, but I feel like when I was in Sweden, I was in like more of the bigger city, and then when I got to Denmark, I'm more in the smaller city of things. So it's hard to compare. It's almost like trying to compare Texas to New York or something, like Texas to California. It's no comparison, you know, especially when it comes to states. I promise, when you see Vegas, you see New York and all that, Texas is nothing like those places. You know, you still have your big cities here in Texas and stuff like that, but they're like, the states are different. And one thing I can say is both of those countries, very different. I love them both. Definitely wouldn't mind. For sure. I ain't gonna lie, when I got to Denmark, I was like, I could live here. The area I was in, it was nice, quiet. But then I seen another video and I seen somebody in this other area in Sweden, and I was like, dang, that reminded me of the part of town I was in Denmark. I could live there, man. I'm a small town guy here in Texas. I'm a small town guy. But let's check out these differences.
One thing that you guys should probably know about me is that I'm an unapologetic people pleaser. So when you guys asked me to wage in on one of the biggest rivalries ever, I just had to
Not a rivalry.
Yes, it is true. I've heard your calls, and today I'm giving the people what they want. I'm making the comparison video between Sweden and Denmark. And before we dig too deep into this one, you guys, I just want us all to notice that I have worn the absolute most neutral colours I could find in my wardrobe today. I'm really trying to create my own flag right here, because I am not taking a position on this. I am not trying to say just because I live in Sweden that it's better than Denmark, or vice versa. So if you're looking for content that knocks the Danes, you probably need to go and check out another channel.
Okay, at least you're not trying to be biased
some of my first impressions on the differences between Denmark and Sweden. Number 1, despite what you've heard, Sweden is way cheaper. Yes, there's definitely a common misconception out there that the entirety of Scandinavia...
Let's see. See, that's hard, because the most I bought was food. So I don't think I can really compare the cost when it comes to food and stuff. Okay, I mean, I bought, you know, when I ate out and stuff like that. I can say I probably spent the most in Denmark. I probably did. I ain't gonna lie, my last night, I think I paid like $50 for my meal, because I gave a tip. I gave a tip to, like, the thing, they gave me something. I think it was more of an Americanized type of restaurant that I went to, though. It was in the mall. It was in the mall. That's probably why. But I think I spent the most in Denmark, and I was only there 2 days. You know, a day and a half and a day and a half. So I had a full day there and a half. So I would say I probably spent the most in Denmark without realizing.
It's hella expensive. But I'm here today to tell you that Sweden's the exception. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here today to tell you that on the Malmö side of the bridge they're literally giving out cash like it's going out of fashion. But what I am here to say is that in Denmark I was really surprised just how expensive everything was. And we're not just talking about accommodation and cost of living. I remember going to buy a coffee in Denmark and I nearly spent my entire wage for the month. Okay, maybe that was a bit of an exaggeration, but I don't need to tell you that it's no surprise that the Danes cross over into Germany or Sweden to get their booze and other supplies because they can't afford it in their own country. So if you're planning to pop across to Copenhagen for the weekend, maybe book in advance, because you might save yourself a small fortune. And while you're over there, the first thing you're going to notice is how different the...
Oh yeah, I did spend the reason too, because the most I did in Sweden was buy food, but I forgot I was getting metro. I bought a metro ticket, 24-hour pass to do the metro. And I did a boat tour. In Sweden, all I did was the boat tour for the most part outside of food. So yeah, that was different. I took the metro and stuff, so that's why I spent that. I had to think about it. I had to think about it.
It wouldn't be surprising to assume that because Sweden and Denmark are so closely related to each other, that the languages would be related too. I mean, they're part of the same language tree, right? Not that you can really notice that in real life. For those of us that are learning Swedish, we complain bitterly about how hard it is to understand skånska, but that's nothing in comparison to Danish. So hop across the bridge if you don't believe me, and then come back to me. And I've heard that Danish is a really difficult language to learn, and not that I've ever tried myself, but I have it on good authority that it's difficult to make your mouth make the sounds that you're supposed to.
I thought both of them were easier to me. I'll always say Finnish. Finnish is tough. Finnish was very tough.
And there's some of us learning Swedish that think that we've got it hard. Let me tell you what, we don't know nothing. I'm convinced it would do the country a favour if the Danish government invested in live subtitles so that we could read what was going along and follow the conversations better. And it's not just the language that is so different. Look at the nature and the landscape. Yes, Sweden is much bigger than Denmark. Not only is it geographically 10 times bigger, but the population is double the size. And it shows because when you first set foot in Copenhagen, it feels like the Danes live a lot closer together. But the reality is they just have a lot less space. And the country is also a lot flatter than Sweden is. In Sweden, we've got mountains. In Denmark, if you want to go skiing, you've got to hop across the border or go down to Germany. And if you went on a road trip from the south to the north of Sweden across one summer, I'm pretty sure you'd see about 16 different climate zones. Whereas in Denmark, you'd be lucky if you saw one. Having said that, that makes Denmark a much better choice for a quick weekend away because you can explore so much more of the country in just a couple of days. Whereas in Sweden, you wouldn't get very far. You could spend the whole weekend driving and you probably still wouldn't reach the top of the country. And while you're in Denmark,
I think that was the cool part of just being able to, I think I would have been able to bounce back to both countries like in a day and stuff. Because like I said, when I was in Copenhagen, that train ride to Malbo was like 20 minutes. It said 30 because of the stops. I think it might have been like 3 or 4 stops in between to get to the Malmo station. But it took really 20 minutes. It was like the trains they be moving. I enjoyed my time on the train. That was my first time on a train, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, I think if I would have bounced back from those two, that would have been cool. So, but yeah, I know next time. I like Stockholm, but I want to. The next time I'm bouncing back to those smaller towns.
You might notice that it's happier than Sweden, or that's how the rumour goes at least. Time and time again, the results show that Denmark is probably the second, if not the top most happy country in the world. And if I was to put my money on why that might be, I'd probably hazard a guess that one of the biggest factors has got to be that the working week is shorter. Even between Sweden and Denmark, you really notice the difference, because in Denmark, the average working week is about 37 hours. In Sweden, you're looking at least 40, possibly 42 or more, and there's no paid lunch break. So if, like me, you think that here in Sweden there's a big focus on home life, hop across to Denmark and then you'll really understand what it's like. Another reason for why Denmark might consistently be one of the happiest countries in the world brings me on to my final comparison point for today. Did you know that in Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark, there is an area of the city that is boxed off as its own autonomous area? Christiania, as it's called in English, is an area that is completely left on its own. They can do what they like, it's left to its own device.
I got to walk through there too. I got to walk through Christiania. Yeah, it was different. It was different. You know, it was literally like I walked into a new town. It was crazy. It's hard. I just walked through. I didn't do too much. I didn't shop or nothing like that. I was walking through. I dang near got lost. That place was a maze almost. I almost got lost in there. I was trying to go back to the area where a food court was, and I ended up getting lost and going out the wrong exit and stuff. And somebody had their dog kind of loose. So, you know, I didn't know how it was. I just know, you know, dogs here will chase you. I didn't feel like running from a dog. But, yeah, the place is very big.
And it's not subject to the same rules and regulations as the rest of Denmark. And don't quote me on this one, but the history says that this dates back to the 1970s when a group of hippies came into the area and took it over. And since they arrived, they've kind of been left to their own devices. And what I mean by that is that there's lots of things that are allowed to happen there that can't happen elsewhere in the country. And as a result, if you're visiting Copenhagen and you decide to go down to Christiania,
I don't know how big it is, but like I said, I got lost in there because I guess I underestimated how big it was, but
make sure that
it
you
didn't
don't
look
get
big
your
on
camera
that
out
map.
in the wrong places, because people will not be impressed. And I've also been told that some travel agencies will advise you not to run if you're going to enter that area of the
God,
city.
hey.
And the reason for that is because lots of the things that are going on there, as I've said, are probably quite illegal. So if you run, it creates this kind of panic and they think they're being raided. Having said that, though, when I was there myself, I did not get the feeling that anyone was urgent to do anything. They felt very relaxed and very chilled out. And I will leave you to guess for yourself why that might be. So there you have it, guys. Those are some of the comparisons that I noticed when I first visited Denmark after having lived in Sweden. But I'm very aware that lots of you guys watching will probably have been to Denmark a lot more than me. Perhaps you even live there or you're from there. So you've got to let me know down in the comment section below, have I hit the nail on the head or am I missing something? I really want to hear from you guys. And then once you're done with that, if you haven't subscribed yet, it would be so awesome if you could turn on that notification bell so you'll be the first one to know as soon as I put out a new video, and then drop me a like so I...
No, this was good. This was good. Like you said, those differences. I mean, I guess, like I said, I spent more money in Denmark because I was paying for some extra things to move around. But I probably would have paid even more. It might have been half and half. I don't know. I just know I had a certain budget. When I got back, I spent a good amount. I made sure I spent a good amount. But other than that, like I said, I enjoyed both countries, man. Like I got those videos if y'all want to see them. They're not the best. I don't have the best, but I got videos proof that I was there. That's all I can tell you. So they might not be the best, but I was there. I was there. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Send out more recommendations. Hey, y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.